Breaking mass murder investigation. Michelle Martin is outside the courthouse in Clay County, and Wayne Herford is live at the Clay County Jail. Let's go to Michelle with the very latest.
This will be one of Mississippi's most high-profile capital murder cases moving forward. And the judge didn't pull any punches either. Daricka Moore will sit in a small, cold jail cell this evening. The judge denied bond on all 11 charges during Moore's initial court appearance this afternoon. Those 11 felony charges, as we mentioned, range from 3 counts of capital murder to car theft. The crimes Moore is accused are disturbing, gruesome, and just unimaginable. He is accused of shooting and killing his father, uncle, brother, and 7-year-old cousin and 2 other men. The hearing was obviously very painful for the victims of the families of the victims, Many sat quietly with tears in their eyes as they listened to the charges. So what's next in the case is the judge also ordered Moore to have a mental evaluation. Coming up next at 5, I spoke to the assistant district attorney, and she says that this case is personal to her, and she promises to use all of full resources from the district attorney's office moving forward in this case.
Breaking news.
New developments in the deadly mass shooting in Clay County. Daricka Moore faces new and upgraded charges. A judge lays down the hammer, and the families of the victims had to relive this nightmare all over again this afternoon.
Why'd you do it?
The 7th of my.
That was Daricka Moore, handcuffed and shackled as he was led into the courtroom. Moore would not answer our questions and, as you heard, cursed out our team of reporters covering that court hearing. Moore's charged with 11 felonies, 3 counts of capital murder, 3 counts of first-degree murder, attempted murder of a child, attempted sexual battery, burglary, and 2 counts of felony car theft. Moore pleaded not guilty to all 11 charges. WTVA's Michelle Martin and Wayne Herford have been following this heartbreaking story since Saturday. Michelle kicks off our team coverage tonight from West Point.
Emily, Friday night was nothing short of a nightmare for this family. 6 lives lost, 3 different locations, and the community, they're still searching for answers. Daricka Moore is accused of carrying out a deadly rampage Friday night, and it left 6 people dead. He is also connected to 4 of the victims. Moore's family members that were killed was his own father, uncle, brother, and 7-year-old cousin. Moore pleaded not guilty to all 11 felony charges. His bond has been denied. I talked to the cousin to both the suspect and 4 of the victims. Reen McMillan says her family is still struggling to process what happened Friday night. She spoke openly about why she believes this tragedy was not about Daricka himself.
It has been tough on my family, but God. We understand that this was not Daricka. We are a close-knit family. This was not him. This was an attack on our family. Mental health is real.
A judge ordered Moore to have a mental evaluation. Reen McMillan says her family is clinging to their faith and they are supporting each other. The community is also supporting them. They have created a GoFundMe for the victims' families. You can go to WTVA.com to find a link for those GoFundMes. Live in West Point, Michelle Martin, WTVA 9 News.
Now with breaking news.
Really looked at. If he's eligible for the death penalty, the district attorney's office is going to go for the death penalty. There's some cases just that they've got to get the worst punishment. They've got to get the worst punishment.
Heartbreak in Clay County tonight. 6 people murdered, 3 different crime scenes. A family executed in cold blood by one of their own. This is the 3rd mass shooting in Clay County since 2023 and one of Mississippi's deadliest mass shootings in recent history. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Emily Leonard. We have a lot of new information to share with you tonight. Some of it is disturbing. All of it is just heartbreaking. Let's get to the very latest information. This is the man investigators say is responsible for the violence and the bloodshed. 24-year-old Daricka Moore. He's behind bars tonight, accused of murdering 6 people. 4 of Moore's victims were his own family. One of the victims was a 7-year-old girl. Moore will go before a judge in Clay County Monday. He is charged with first-degree murder, but we expect that charge to be upgraded to capital murder within the next 48 hours. We have team coverage tonight on this shooting rampage in a special edition of WTVA 9 News. Our Michelle Martin interviewed Clay County Sheriff Eddie Scott earlier today. Tanaya McQueen has an exclusive interview with the mother of one of the victims, and Wayne Herford is also in Clay County. He spoke with the members of the community about this tragedy. Let's first go to Michelle, who has all of the details on what happened Friday night.
Yeah, Emily, Sheriff Eddie Scott and his team of investigators have investigated a lot of horrible crimes over these years, but this one has to be the most disturbing case that has ever happened in this community. This is just something that investigators in the community say that they're just struggling to grasp and understand how this level of violence can happen in their own backyard. This violent rampage happened on Friday night. This all happened in several locations near West Point. The area is in the Griffith and Cedar Bluff communities. 24-year-old Daricka Moore is first accused of killing 3 relatives inside of a home on David Hill Road. The victims were essentially executed, all of them shot in the head. The sheriff says Moore killed his father, Glenn Moore, his brother, Quentin Moore, and then his uncle, Willie Gewins. Moore then stole a truck and drove to another home on Blake Road. It was there, deputies say, Moore forced his way inside. The sheriff says Moore tried to sexually assault someone in that home, and then he shot and killed, allegedly, a 7-year-old girl. That girl was Moore's cousin. Moore took off traveling to a third location on Siloam Griffith Road. When investigators arrived there, they found the stolen truck hidden behind the house, signs of forced entry, and then 2 more victims inside, 2 men shot in the head. The victims were identified as Barry Bradley and Samuel Bradley. One of them was a well-known pastor. Moore was caught and taken into custody at a roadblock. He is charged with first-degree murder. What investigators still don't know, and what continues to just trouble this community, is why.
This guy has not been on our radar. We have not had any reports, anything prior leading up to this. So what his state of mind was, what was going on with him, that's part of the investigation right now.
You know, this is the type of case where the death penalty is going to have to be really looked at. If he's eligible for the death penalty, the district attorney's office is going to go for the death penalty. There's some cases just that they've got to get the worst punishment. They've got to get the worst punishment. 6 people, one night, several different scenes. You've heard the allegations. They're about as bad as it gets.
Daricka Moore will have a preliminary hearing on Monday in West Point. Sheriff Eddie Scott says those charges will be upgraded to capital murder. Coming up here shortly, I will be talking to Sheriff Eddie Scott live to talk about what's moving forward with this case and what is planning to get justice for the families that are involved. Live in Clay County, Michelle Martin, WTVA 9 News.
Several different scenes. You've heard the allegations. They're about as bad as it gets. If he's eligible, we're going to go for the death penalty and let a jury decide his fate.
Moore is currently charged with first-degree murder. That charge will be upgraded here shortly to capital murder, with additional murder charges forthcoming with conjunction with the district attorney's office.
6 people dead in a single night of unimaginable violence. A father murdered by his own son. A brother shot in the head. An uncle gunned down. A pastor killed alongside his brother. And most chillingly, 7-year-old Makilia Gwynns, an innocent child with her entire life ahead of her, executed at close range by a family member she should have been able to trust. On Friday night, January 9, 2026, Daricka M. Moore, a 24-year-old from rural Cedar Bluff, Mississippi, embarked on a shooting spree that would transform an ordinary evening into a nightmare of unspeakable proportions, leaving a community shattered and a family forever fractured by the incomprehensible evil that had erupted from within their own bloodline.
Yo, man, you killed 6 people?
Huh?
Did you kill 6 people, sir?
Nah.
Huh?
13. They just...
You killed 13?
13 people.
Okay. Why'd you do it?
The 7 of my
Welcome to True.
Family members are now speaking out after the incident. Kamari Hamer has more.
When they first told me, I just couldn't believe it. When they said it was my brother, I was really shocked about it. Didn't want to believe that he had got killed.
Kimberly Moore and Versie Jennings are still in shock after hearing the news about the death of their family members and the identity of the suspect. Clay County Sheriff Eddie Scott tells WCBI 24-year-old Daricka Moore shot and killed 67-year-old Glenn Moore, 55-year-old Willie Gins, 33-year-old Quentin Moore at this home on David Hill Road. All 3 victims were related to the shooter. Moore then allegedly stole a Ford F-150 that belonged to Quentin Moore. It is believed that the shooter then traveled to Blake Road and forced his way into this home and attempted to sexually assault someone. While he was there, Moore reportedly shot and killed a 7-year-old girl who was also his second cousin.
It really is a sad situation. I really don't know what the causing of this. We all just need prayer at this time.
The killing continued. Clay County investigators say Moore left in the stolen truck and drove to this home on Salone Griffith Road. Deputies found the stolen truck behind the home, signs of forced entry, and the bodies of Barry and Samuel Bradley.
We all lift our hearts in prayer for the victims and families. Again, this is really, really shaking our community. And for me, almost 30 years in this is one of the toughest ones we had to work.
The suspect had no prior history with law enforcement, and at this time, there's no clear motive behind the crime spree.
Mental illness, that's something serious that we as a family should take, try to check on our people.
Moore is being charged with first.
County, Michelle Martin, WTVA 9 News.
But I try to do all I, can to help her, to save her. But I couldn't, and that's weighing heavy on my heart.
As we mentioned, one of the 6 victims was a child. 7-year-old Michaela Guin was shot in the head at that second location. The little girl's family, as you would imagine, just heartbroken. WTVA's Tanaya McQueen talked to Michaela's mother, who says part of her died when she lost her child that night. Tanaya is live in West Point with her emotional interview.
There's just not enough words to describe the pain that LaShonda Gewins must be dealing with. Little Michaela was so happy, so bright, and full of so much joy, and she brought so much life into their home. And now this family is left to deal with a loss that no one can understand. Now, LaShonda Gewins was actually at that home when everything happened. They live on Blake Road. It was a place the family felt safe. It was their sanctuary, but that peace was shattered just last night. Now, LaShonda's cousin, Daricka Moore, is accused of murdering her daughter. LaShonda says she actually saw her child die right in front of her other 2 children. A heartbreak no mother should ever have to experience.
I can't help but to feel like, I could have did more. But I try to do all I, can to help her, to save her. But I couldn't. And that's weighing heavy on my heart because, it might have been more. What if I did this and what if I did that? It would have been, a better outcome. But I just don't know. I tried.
The family is now focused on remembering and honoring little Michaela's life. They're asking for prayers tonight as they deal with this unimaginable heartbreak. Tonight at 10, I'll share more of this emotional interview, and I'll talk to the little girl's grandfather, and I'll have how he now has to hold this family all together after this unimaginable loss. Live in Clay County, Tanaya McQueen, WTVA 9 News.
And as
No, get on this side, down, sit out.
Yeah, you can't have 2 bald heads on one side. Good. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sheriff Eddie Scott. I'm joined here today by Scott Cologne, Ms. Trina Brooks from our District Attorney's Office, along with some of the employees of the Sheriff's Office. Briefly want to talk about an incident that occurred last night here in Clay County on January the 9th. We want everybody to understand that this investigation is in the preliminary stages. It's ongoing, and investigators are working 4 separate crime scenes. So understand the information is going to be coming, but it has to be thoroughly investigated before we make releases. Today I'm going to release you preliminary information, and please understand that some of this is subject to change as the investigation continues. But on January the 9th at 2026 at approximately 6:56 p.m., Clay County E911 received a call in regards to gunshot victims at 299 Blake Road in Cedar Bluff, which is going to be in the western part of Clay County. Deputies arrived on the scene at 7:03 p.m. The investigators revealed the following, that on January the 9th, Daricka Moore, as you see here on the screen to my left, black male age 24, allegedly shot and killed Glenn Moore, age 67, Willie Ed Gewins, 55, and Quentin Moore, 33, at a residence located at 123 David Hill of Cedar Bluff, Mississippi. Upon arrival, deputies discovered the gunshot wounds to the head. The men were pronounced deceased by Clay County Medical Examiner. Moore then allegedly stole a Ford F-150, aluminum in color, belonging to the deceased brother, Quentin Moore. It is believed that Daricka Moore then traveled to 299 Blake Road, where we initially got the first 911 call. Once at that residence on Blake Road, Moore forced his way into the home and attempted to commit a sexual battery while armed with a handgun. At some point, Moore, in front of witnesses, allegedly shot and killed a 7-year-old female at the home. Upon arrival, deputies discovered the 7-year-old had suffered from an apparent gunshot wound to the head. The 7-year-old was pronounced deceased by the Clay County Medical Examiner, Alvin Carter. It is believed that Moore then fled to the residence on Blake Road in the stolen truck, and at some point traveling to 1965 Siloam Griffin Road in the western part of Clay County. During the investigations, Clay County investigators were directed to this Griffin Road residence by a 911 call. Upon arrival, investigators discovered the stolen truck hidden behind the house. While at the home, Clay County investigators discovered apparent forced entry to the rear of the residence. This led to the discovery of 2 deceased males. They were identified as Barry Bradley and Samuel Bradley from Columbus. Both men appeared to have suffered gunshot wounds to the head and were pronounced deceased at the scene by a Clay County Medical Examiner. At this point, law enforcement established a perimeter. Moore was later taken into custody without incident at the intersection of Pine Grove Road and Joe Myers Road in western Clay County. He was taken in custody by members of the Mississippi Highway Patrol, Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, the U.S. Park Service, U.S. Marshals, and other law enforcement agencies. Once in custody, investigators discovered that the vehicle Moore was operating had allegedly been stolen from the residence on Siloam Griffin Road, where the 2 males were discovered in the house. Moore is currently charged with first-degree murder. That charge will be upgraded here shortly to capital murder, with additional murder charges forthcoming with conjunction with the District Attorney's Office. Clay County investigators are coordinating with the Mississippi Bureau of Investigations, the Mississippi Criminal Laboratory, and the Clay County Medical Officers and the District Attorney's Office. A preliminary hearing right now is scheduled for Monday, January the 12th, 2026 at the Clay County Court Complex. Again, that is subject to change. This safe apprehension of our suspect was only possible due to the assistance of our local, state, and federal partners who responded quickly to our community. I will say at this point, we do not know a motive for these acts. We are continuing to work with all our partners to complete a full and thorough investigation. Again, this is ongoing, and information subject to change. We're asking anybody out in the public that has any additional information to please contact the Sheriff's Office or the Golden Triangle Crime Stoppers with this. We want to say that we all lift our hearts in prayer for the victims and families. Again, this is really, really shaking our community. And for me, almost 30 years in this is one of the toughest ones we had to work. So again, our job right now is to thoroughly investigate, make sure that we get our district attorney's office everything that they need to prosecute. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our district attorney, Mr. Scott Cologne.
Thank you, Sheriff. I want to reiterate what the sheriff said. All of our hearts and prayers go out to the victims and the survivors of this really tragic, horrific spree of murders last night. There's no words that can console them, but just want to let them know they're in our hearts and our prayers, and that community is in our hearts and prayers. I do want to give a huge shout out to the Clay County Sheriff's Department and the different law enforcement agencies that assisted in the apprehension of this suspect and the investigation into his allegedly, at this point, horrific crimes. I have to tell you, when the sheriff briefed me about what had happened thus far last night, it really shook me because this is the worst one I've seen in 10 years. It's the worst one. I mean, 6 people, innocent lives taken, just horrific. And as the sheriff said, these charges are going to be upgraded to capital murder. They're going to probably be more than one count, to be honest with you. And I do want to say this. I talked to Trina Davidson this morning, and she asked me, I didn't suggest it, she asked me, could she be the special prosecutor on this case? It worked very well, and it's working very well with the Oasis shooting, and we're really making great progress to going to trial on that case. And she did such an outstanding job on that with working with Investigator Knowles that this morning she asked me could she be special prosecutor on this case no matter what judge gets it, because it was so personal to her. And I of course, agreed to let her do that. So she will be working with Investigator Knowles and the Clay County Sheriff's Department to lead this prosecution. And I will also say that, this is the type of case where the death penalty is going to have to be really looked at. I mean, and when I say that, there are certain legal processes that we have to go through. We have to continue the investigation. You have to go through mitigation experts. There's going to be mental